This is Jewell Loyd. Most of you guys know me as a WNBA champion, an Olympian, college dropout, but let's add storyteller to that list. I'm bringing my amazing community, my experiences to you and everyone across the world. Welcome to the warehouse.
What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the warehouse. I'm Danny, and we have Jewell, Mrs. Two-time champ Jewell. We're back. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
How you doing?
But it's been a good minute. It's been a good minute. We're back. I've been good, obviously end season. So it's the grind of things, but honestly, there's no complaints, man. Everything's good. Life is good. So
I love hearing that. I really do. Honestly. I know this isn't, guys, before we get into it, make sure you guys are liking and subscribe to the warehouse for awesome content. We bring into the heat every time. So make sure you guys like and subscribe. Jewell, I know we're not really in the warehouse, Jewell, today, but, it still has that feel, miles away. And speaking of miles away, we're in Phoenix for a huge win. I mean, the Las Vegas Aces right now at 8-8, sitting at 500, fifth in the West, seventh in standings right now. Big win against the hottest team in the league, 6-game winning streak for the Mercury, led by Alyssa Thomas and them. Playoff atmosphere. I'm watching the game, from my perspective, I'm watching the game coming up, literally driving up from LA, watching this game. I'm not trying to swerve. I got the baby in the car. I got everything going. I got the game on. I'm listening to everything, and it's just a crazy game. Playoff atmosphere, 16 games in. So, tell us about the win. Huge momentum builder. Take us through it, Jewell.
I mean, it's really tough to play in Phoenix. If you haven't been to a game there, or, I don't know how much you could feel the energy on TV, or when you're listening to the game, but it's a tough place to play. They have an amazing fan base. And, for us, we obviously knew that that's a big game. We have to win. We felt like we had a chance when we had them at home, and didn't really execute down the stretch. But yeah, they're one of the hottest teams in the league right now, as we all know. And it's very important to get to a good start when you're on the road. And I think we did that. We did things with intent, and it was really good to see from all of us. That was the definition of a team win, honestly. If you look at everything that everyone who came in, the little spurts that we had, it was a team effort. It was pretty remarkable, and honestly, it was probably a really good game to watch as a fan, because it was back and forth literally to the last 20 seconds. So, I'm obviously glad we got the win, but it's, we're definitely building here, and to have a win like that, we definitely need it.
Oh, 100%. And as I mentioned, I was swerving when Sammy Whitcomb caught that top of the key three to tie the game. I literally was going to swerve into 2 lanes, and I did not want to put my baby's health in jeopardy doing that. I did not want to do that. Luckily, she missed. But yeah, back and forth battle. Those last 3 minutes just felt like a grind. They felt like it took forever. And key players coming up with key plays, you being one of them on that swing corner 3, big time shot.
Corner 3 gets you paid, man. Corner 3 gets you paid. You're Jewell Thompson, just open for the 3. I sort of shooting that 42% from the clip this year. So, you don't want to leave Jewell open. But yeah, key shots from Jewell, from you down the stretch. Aaliyah Nye, we'll get more into her, but, she's coming into her own. She's blossoming right in front of our eyes. Shot 5 of 7 from 3, just absolutely sniper.
And yes, absolutely. Her catch and shoot game is unreal. Quick release.
It's wild.
And then, of course, and Asia bringing the team home with the clutch bucket. How long did that last 3-minute stretch feel? I know I said I felt like an attorney, but being on court and seeing everything, how did it feel for you going into the last 3 minutes, the intensity of it?
It's kind of wild. I think a lot of our season 2, it's been those last 3-minute stretches where we look up, we're like, all right, we know where, that's when you got to execute on both ends. And it just felt like back and forth, Sammy hits 3, Nye hits the 3, Sammy hits the 3. It was just a 3 off, going back and forth, and momentum of just what we were trying to do. And we knew we came to a timeout, and it's all we need is a stop and a score, stop and score. If you look at the totality of the whole game, it's easy to get distracted, because 40 minutes, it's a lot. Think about it. If you go to class for 40 minutes, you're like, damn, I got to focus for 40 minutes in this damn class. You're going to drift a little bit, right? So it's really hard to focus on these things. So for me, really, and I think for us in general, we try to break it down into smaller games. So 3-minute games, that stuff we practice all the time. It's okay, we're down six, 3 minutes. How do we execute? We're up six, 3 minutes. So like that's things that we constantly practice. But in that game, it felt like the clock was not moving, bro. Like it was like, come on, like something like it's just we had possessions where like it was out of bounds, like kick possession. Like it was one play like Chelsea kicked the ball, like almost caught. It was just like everything was like stopping. So in those moments, like it feels way more, not even way more intense, but you're just like everything is like on edge, right? So we're trying to figure out how to do all these things, but I'm just glad that 3 minutes, like everyone locked in. I mean, it was, and we've had that, it's just sometimes like Sammy had a good, she was hot all night, like you want her to shoot the ball for Phoenix. Obviously the play was for her, and she just missed. And, it's maybe I did enough, right, to make her miss. In my head, that's what I'm thinking, because she definitely got that step on me, and so, I know it's a little bit harder going to your right, but man, like those little things matter. And maybe too, like, how hard we were playing those 3 minutes, like maybe just a little less legs in those shots, right? So having Asia come down and hit the layup, which I thought should have been and 1. But it's just a lot of things like that in the last 3 minutes of games. It's honestly the first 3 minutes of games too set the tone. So it's like how you start the first 3 minutes, how you finish it. It's really big. So yeah, it was. I was glad Now I also got that big rebound at the end too. I was like, just go. So she hits a big shot, then she gets a good rebound. So I'm glad she kind of solidified that game for us.
Yeah. And, it's hard to, I think she was at the line to seal the game, right? And, she hits the first and back iron second, and then they have the timeout.
Never happens.
Yeah, and that's what kind of shocked me. I'm like, there's no way. Like, you know what I mean? She back iron second, which, you're still up 3 in that situation, but walking with her to the huddle, I kind of saw you walking with her. Any kind of message to her right away was like, hey, like, don't worry about it, we got you, or what kind of message was it after that free throw? Because it's still a one possession game, 3-point game going against that huddle.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, Nye like never misses free throws. We even in training camp, we're on the baseline, whatever, and you're just like, pick your shooters, and we're like, go ahead, not. Like very rarely you ask a rookie to step up, right? Wherever the whole team's looking at like, if you miss this free throw, we got to run. Like we're blaming you. And we're like, have all the confidence in the world that she's going to step up and hit that shot. And like, when I tell you, she literally never misses free throws. So, it happens. And, she misses that second one. And no one was like, oh, like that was, we're like, we're good. Like, we're going to get a stop. You're fine. Like, you got us to this point. Like, we're good. And I think that's the mentality you always have to have. And I think for her too, which made her, get that last rebound was like, she's still like, wasn't focused on the missed free throw, right? She was still locked in on making sure that defense was good and then finishing with a rebound, which we talk about all the time. So yeah, I mean, it's constantly just, I'm constantly talking to her all the time. Like, bro, like, I told her like, if I miss a 3, like you can't miss a 3. Like you got to make 2. For every miss, like you got to make 2. And like you make, I got to make. And so we constantly have this conversation throughout the game, like, we hold each other accountable, but making it fun too, because at the end of the day, like, it's a lot of pressure, right? And so to make it fun for her and also like take some weight off her shoulders, it's making those little moments feel less intense. And I think we did all a good job of that, of understanding that early on, like even, late, like, all right, we just need to stop. We're fine. We're going to get this stop. And that was our mindset. And, we ended up getting that stop.
Yeah. When it comes to, you were just mentioning it, like we had a complete game, right? You're playing the game within the game, those 3-minute stretch, 5-minute stretches, but you had that complete game. What I've noticed, and, maybe you could talk about this in depth more in these first 16 games, like I see a lot of fast starts. I see a lot of strong finishes, right? And I see that. It was a game a couple games ago. I believe you guys were playing Connecticut, and you guys went up like 21. Literally, it was 21-0 at one point. And then second quarter comes in, they go on a big run, and then you guys kind of were like going from there back and forth battling. But then you ultimately pushed away and pushed away. But like the fast start, strong finish, was this the game that you felt like, yes, it was a complete game, but how do we see more of that? Like, what are some of the things that we're doing, that you're doing, that you're constantly clicking and connecting with the guys or the gals and telling them, like, hey, like, this is how we're going to complete the game?
Yeah, I mean, that's literally what, when Becky came into the locker room, she's like, that's 40 minutes, and we've been talking and preaching that all seasons. Like, we've had good quarters, we have good moments, we have good peaks, how can we get that consistency? And a lot of it's just on us. And so when we were watching film and we're kind of breaking down things and talking to ourselves, we're like, man, like, this is us. Like, and that's not a discredit to any team we play. It's literally like almost like analogy. Like, did you study for the test? Yes or no? It's like, did you prepare yourself for this? Like, you shouldn't be shocked when you get an F. Like, it's on you. Like, you didn't do enough to prepare yourself, right? And so it's like for us, like, dang, like the turnovers, like, if we can eliminate those, playing hard, like, that's us. Like, focusing a little bit more, like, not getting distracted, whatever that is, like, whatever that is for that person, you know, having that full 40 minutes is what, we're capable of doing. And sometimes you just need to see it. You need to go through things. You need to be put in situations to believe that you guys can really do it. Obviously, we believe we can do it, but having games like that away with people like, Nye stepping up and, Dana coming in and making contributions, Jordan coming in. It's like all these people coming in. Like, that's what you need. It's a full team. And I think my dad always says it too. He's like, man, the WNBA is so weird. He's like, it's so weird. You have like you said, you go on runs where you're like, 20-0 runs. And then like literally the next quarter, it's like tie game. It's like, it's so fascinating. Like, if you look at high school games, overseas games, like college games, like someone's up 20 in the first quarter, like it's done, like game over. It's like you don't really let people back in. But my dad's always saying like the WNBA, for whatever reason, like, and obviously it's one of the best leagues in the world, but like it's very rare that that gap is going to go to 50 or 60. It's just like somehow, some way, you look up at halftime and it's like a 2-point game. And you're like, what happened? Like, what's going on? He's always like, he always said that to me. But it's just like fascinating, man. Like, it's really a game of runs. And I think that's just a testament to, one, how good this league is and just where the game is going. And it's just like, there's really never a night off in the W. Like, you never know. And that's the beauty of sports, is because just because you have a great roster on paper or whatever, it doesn't really mean that, you still got to play the game. Right. And so we're seeing that. And it's it's crazy. It literally drives my dad crazy. He's like, I just don't get it. Like, whether it's, the play calls, the stoppage, like, even for our game, at home, like, we started the game and then something happened and we were like, had a 2-3 minute pause right in the first like minute of the game. So it's like your momentum's like like something like random happens. They switch out the ball or, whatever. So it's this constant, I guess, chaos. But at the end of the day, you got to figure out how to continually stay focused for 40 minutes, fine, and break it down. I think, like I said earlier, like, when you're able, for me, to like break each quarter down and to make it a smaller game, it allows me to just focus better. Like, I just know that's how I am. And when I'm trying to think of everything, it's just like too much. So just reel it in, understand that. And I mean, shit, we've been playing this game forever. It's like, and then it's still a game. It's still a good game of basketball. So you gotta also have to have that mindset too. Like, they play basketball too. Stu used to always say that, like, they play basketball too. So it's not like we're playing people who've never seen, basketball, never been in an arena before. Like, they're professionals as well.
Yeah, of course. And you guys have the veteran presence too, to keep everybody in the moment and to keep them focused too, right? You guys have like such a development blend, or a blend of some developmental players, but all, like, you have your Aaliyah Nyes and company, but then you also have your vets, right? You have you have Chelsea, Jackie, like Asia, keeping that all in line. But ultimately, when you guys see, for example, AT gets to the free throw line, or you guys are constantly communicating, looking at each other. I always see that. Is there a little like messages or key hints that you guys are like, okay, after this free throw, we know we're going to get into in our sets?
No, for sure. Like, I think throughout the game, like, obviously communication is key, right? It's super important, but I think the free throw line is also like, it's like a mini timeout for us. So we talk a lot during timeouts, whether it's play calls, what we see, if we miss something, and coming back, and that's kind of where we kind of get our second win. So it's just another timeout for us, which is great. And obviously, in key moments, that free throw line, break, or huddle, and the communication, like, looking at us, like, we're trying to figure out what's going on. And a lot of times, like, they're just like signals, it's like baseball, it's like everyone's like trying to hide like what they're doing, but you're trying to listen to see what their coach is saying. Like, it's literally just like a game of like guess who at the free throw line. So I mean, that's where we normally kind of get our next set or run. Or if someone sees something, a play call that we need, that's kind of where we get it. But a lot of times we're also just catching our breath. Like, we're good. Like, take a breath. We're just freaking tired back and forth. But I mean, free throw line, you got to take advantage of that, because sometimes, you want to save your timeouts, and that's kind of where you get it.
Yeah. So, I mean, ultimately, big win. Congrats. That was a huge win. Getting to 8-8. Honestly, like, what do you feel like you've learned in these first 16? And the reason why I say that is, if I look at the Aces past, right? I believe they started, when Becky took over, started off 13-3. They had a historic season when they went 34-6. They started off 15-1, and then they started off 10-6. This year, obviously 8-8. So, can you describe to me or take us through these first 16? And if you can give us a word that can kind of give you that full depiction of the first 16, what would you think it would be? And what are you guys learning? Like, what are you guys learning each and every game? I know you guys say communicate. And I know Becky was mentioning that like that was a full 40, but like, what else have you been learning from her as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely different for all of us, and obviously for the Aces, right? Like, it's a different journey. But I'm also looking at each person on our roster and what each person has been through coming into this season, last season, whether it's, losing someone close to you, a change of scenery, a different phase in your life, all these things. And so when you're trying to like take the next level of success, sometimes like it feels different. It's another weight, another barrier on your shoulders, and it's hard to be great. It's not easy, right?
Yeah.
It's sometimes people make it look very easy and look effortless, but it's not. And the thing that I always will, have so much respect for, and I don't know, like just appreciative of like the hard work. Like it may not seem like, oh, this team is not, a championship team, or they're 8-8. Like, what's going on? They're not consistent. Like, we know all the team. We hear all these things all the time, but the one thing that has never stopped is our work. And that's literally the only thing we know how to do is just get back up and just try again. Like, get back up and work harder. Like, and that's something that this team, like I said, people have been through a lot of stuff. And when you kind of get to know each player, you realize like, man, like your story, your journey is like, how are you still here? Like, how are you still doing this? And then you realize like, man, like you've been a fighter your whole life. Like Becky's been a fighter her whole life. Like,
Yeah.
and when you have that as like in your back pocket, you realize like, okay, we can play basketball harder. Like we can do this. Like we've been through life stuff that like actually affects like a lot of things. We could play basketball and we could do this. And so, yeah, it looks different, we know that. And at the end of the day, like we're still in the hunt. Like we're not out, so it's like it's this point like you wanna be able to stand up and be like we're good, so like we still got to work at it, and that's the thing that never changes is our work. Like no one's coming in like, oh my god, life is over, like no one's like just getting dragged in, right? It's like
I
but
totally
sometimes
feel you.
yeah, because sometimes that can happen like in anything. It's like dang, like you just harp on it, and just like that
Yeah.
negativity kind of just normally just brings you down, but it's not like that. And that's like really hard to do. Like when things aren't going your way, it's really hard to still be positive and still come in and do your job, still laugh. Like the other day in practice, we were like having the best time ever. And it's like we understand like who we are as people, like what we have around and what we're appreciative of. And we're not taking this for granted at all. And it's just we're just 8-8. like, but nothing about what we're trying to do and who we are is average. We know that. It's just
No, 100%.
that's what's where that's just where we are. And so you take it, but you definitely want to work, and that's all we can honestly do is just work and make the most of it and still achieve what we want to do, and that's still we still see it, and that's that's just the belief we have in this team and the belief we have in each other, which makes it pretty awesome to go to work every day.
No, yeah, don't totally. I feel like I see the connectivity and I see the chemistry and the gelling grow. Obviously, from game 1 to now, like the first 16, right? Going into that now, you're taking these next 5 on the road. So you guys have a huge road trip coming up in July.
Crazy.
You guys are not going to be in Vegas for a while. Starting in Indiana. So, take us through the road trip. And in the past, like how have you handled long road trips? Because not a lot of people see it. They just think, oh, another team's on the road, right? But like, how are you handling it? How have you handled it in the past?
The road is tough. It's tough. It just is like you're packing for 10 days. Like you're just living out a suitcase and like you're in a hotel room. Like it's just not awesome. And I think probably the hardest thing is obviously just like your recovery, right? And making sure that you're staying like hydrated and you're elevating your feet and you're eating the right things. And sometimes on the road you can kind of get lazy. And especially if you don't know how to prepare. Like rookie sometimes is like, oh, like we just do whatever on the road, like and just be like, yeah, but like you want to get off your feet, you don't want to be shot, but like it's like little things like that, and it depends on who you are. Like I'm not gonna tell you to not break your routine or do anything like that, but it's just not like you're just in a hotel room, and like a hotel room and a plane and a gym, hotel room and a plane, and like you just constantly on this rotation, and so it's really hard sometimes to kind of get out of that norm. So you do have to kind of find your rhythm and still try to find your routine on the road. But I mean, I'm pretty simple. I don't really do much. Like my routine really doesn't change that much, but I definitely have to make sure that I'm like still like seeing outside, right? Like still seeing
Yeah.
people, I'm not just hibernating. Because I
Yeah.
could kind of get to you too. But yeah, on the road is tough, man. Like it's just, the games are tough. Obviously, it's not easy going to any arena and trying to win games and making sure that you're just, getting used to the time change and all those things that, you don't really have to always think about when you're home. But a lot of it's just preparing. And I will say, like, our, behind the scenes staff does a great job of making sure, like, they'll send us texts like, hey, like, nutritional tips of the day, like, drink this much amount of water since you, like, been traveling for this many hours. And I'm like, what? So that's been, like, crazy. But, it's just tough on the road, man. Like the routine's
Yeah.
different. Like it just is. Like think about like if
Yeah.
you're in like, 10 days, it's like a lot. And like you said, we're not back home for a while. I think we have like another like we come home for two games and we're right back on the road. So it's tough. That's why,
That is
early
tough.
on when you're home, like you gotta kind of maximize your time and win those games. But at the same time, everybody's on the like everyone has to do it either early in the season or late in the season. So it's just part of the job.
But you're like year 10 or year 11 into this. Like,
Yeah.
did you ever have a teammate that you were like close to who is either, going out, party animal, doing anything, that you're like, I really wouldn't do that right now. Like, we're on a pretty big road trip. Did you ever have any stories of that?
I mean, yeah, man. There's always, a couple teammates that, have their routine. Like that's just what they do. They want to enjoy life, whether they're playing or not playing, you always gonna
Yeah.
have that. And I think, but honestly, it's a little bit different now because with the chartering, as much as we, I mean, that's needed to happen. Like we're not in cities as long anymore. So like usually before the charter, like you stayed the night, after the game, you had, your night and you went out and you just had dinner and you did whatever you wanted to do, or you're in sometimes cities for like, 2-3 days. 'Cause you didn't have the option to come back. It didn't make sense to like travel back to where you went and then go back on the road. So like we're not really in cities that long. So you just literally play the game and you fly back. So for most people now, it's kind of like, unless you stay an extra day yourself or you get there a day before, it's kind of different to stay and kind of go crazy. But yeah, I mean, you definitely listen. If someone wants to go crazy, they're gonna go crazy, regardless of what like how much time they have. They're gonna go enjoy their life. Like that's not going anywhere, right? Like that's just life.
No, 100%.
But yeah, I mean, like you have players that do that, but it's a little bit different because I mean, we're literally like bopping around, like we don't really
Uh-huh.
have that luxury to just after games relax, chill out, like do this. And sometimes like I've talked about it, like I kind of miss that because like that's when we went to all our team dinners, like that's where we like all hung out together, like it's kind of like had that chemistry kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you don't really get that, but then you get that same atmosphere like on the plane. So we're still joking around playing cards. So like it's a little bit more, I guess, like intimate because you're just strictly with your team all the time on the plane. But yeah, no, it's definitely different now. But yeah, you definitely have, I mean, you see it in the NBA, you see it,
Yeah.
every, whatever athlete goes out and it's so like some paparazzi like, oh, just saw so and so in the club. Like it's like, bro, like relax, like we still have a life too, like
Yeah. Yeah.
we're not humans and whatnot. And it's like, you
D-
work at 9 to 5, you go and have a drink, we do the same thing,
Exactly.
it's like we do the same
No,
thing. Like
100%. You
there's
gotta
nothing crazy.
unwind. You
Yeah,
gotta unwind. You're
yeah, just a
human
little
too,
bit.
right? But
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I'm not honestly knowing you. I know you wouldn't. But have you ever been caught lacking? Like, have you ever been like, oh shit, like, oh yeah, like, hey, like, I don't know. Have you ever been in that situation?
Nah, man. Like I'm about my business. I'm very low key about everything I do. You're never gonna catch me out here being, maybe not even my younger years, I'm just very smart. I'm very strategic with who I hang out with, how I move. I've always kind of been like that. It's the good fellas in me, like the
Yeah, no,
Godfather, you
100%.
gotta be
Yeah,
you gotta be strategic in what you do.
no,
So I've always
100%.
kind of been like that. But
You got
yeah,
a nickname for every hotel you check in. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, these
yeah,
your dry cleaning has a different name. You're not Jewell Loyd here and there. So, no, I totally feel that. I totally feel that.
yeah,
You ever did you have
exactly,
a
bro.
do you have a favorite road trip that comes to mind, like in your past days, like with on Seattle or anything like that? Do you ever have like a favorite road
Honestly,
trip, a memorable road trip of Jewell Loyd?
yeah, road trip. I'd probably say I was with Seattle. We were in DC for like no joke. We had a back to back. We were in DC for a week. Like it was so it was this right after COVID. So we were basically doing like baseball scheduling. So like you stay
Oh
there, like you
shit.
play your game. Like it was like 2 games and travel, whatever. So we're in DC for like a week. And so we're just like bored out of our minds. Like really are like we've done everything we need to do for this road trip. Like what else can we do? And Gabby, who has a love for tattoos, she had a tattoo gun with her, and she gave me a
On
tat
her?
on this road trip. Yeah, she always has this tattoo gun. Like just
What?
randomly, she's trying to work on her craft a little bit.
Oh, that's cool. No, that's cool.
And she has like obviously her sleeve is fire. They actually just did like a whole like article about it. Of how
She did it
the
herself?
story of her tattoo. No, she didn't do it herself. But I'm saying like, imagine, bro. But her tattoos are fire. But so I'm like, yo, Gabby, like, what are you doing right now? She's like, nothing. I'm like, want to give me a tat? She's like, sure. I'm like, all right, cool. So literally, that's like what happened. So that's probably one of the best. It was just funny, it's like we have nothing to do. Like we talked about it. Gabby's like, one of my closest friends. I'm like, you know what? YOLO. Like I want you to give me. It's literally her handwriting. It's honestly awful. It's in between like my arm right here, and it's like 24 in French. Something basic, but having that, the trust and the whole process of her getting ready. She was like really locked in and focused. She had the gloves. She like, cleaned everything, sanitized everything. Like she was like ready to go. And so I met Epiphany Prince. She was on a team, and she's like basically narrating the whole thing. Like all the teammates coming in, like checking to see if like it's all good. Like Sammy's in there, like, what are you guys doing? Like her being the typical parent, So it was pretty wild. But like I think that was probably the most memorable one. And I think I put it on my TikTok at some point. But it's just fun. I like to kind of be spontaneous at times, and those little things, like I'm never going to forget that. Literally it's on my arm, so I'm never going to forget that. So every time I look at my arm, I'm like, that's Gabby. She's a part of my process, a part of my journey. So for sure, that was great.
Well, now that's years go by. I mean, her craft has to have been gone up. So maybe she could go over it,
Listen,
touch it up a little bit, make it look good. You know what I mean?
I tell her all the time, like, hey, like, I know your handwriting got better. I know you're more confident now, like, you might have to run that back. So I'm always telling her, like, hey, whenever you're ready, like, let's do it. I just, all my tattoos in general have stories. So, we're just adding more, stories, in my life on my arm, make them good, make them last, just
That's
a little
awesome.
bit.
Shout out to Gabby, man. That's awesome. No, that's sick. I think that's dope. I think Nino should get this next piece by her.
Bro,
he's got like a sleeve. He's got something going on. So
listen, I'm not gonna be I am gonna be that person. If you ask him, he almost had a hiccup in his tattoo. It still might be there.
Oh shit.
You gotta listen, if you guys try to get tattoos, for everyone who's liking, subscribing to the Warehouse, listen up.
Yeah.
If you're gonna get a tattoo, please make sure the spelling is all good, the angles are all good, like what you actually want is all good before that stuff goes on. Because I promise you, when it's done and it's not right,
it ain't coming off.
It ain't coming off, bro. And then you gotta get it redone in a space that is already crafted and looks weird. So does
get the cheese grater out. You gotta
get the I don't know. You know might have to. Like, it's just, I don't know. But his tattoo looks fire, and luckily he was able to make it work. But we were a little nervous. We were a little nervous when he first saw that. We're like, come on, bro. Like,
no.
Come on, bro.
Good. No, it looks good. It looks good. It's not poor guy, man. We just aired him out.
I know.
So back to, the road tripping thing real quick. Like that mentality, you always hear it too in basketball, or like anyone's on the road, whether it's a football team on the road, basketball team on the road, whoever's on the road. We got, right? How true is that?
Yeah.
Like, the opposing fans don't like you. The arena's new, the city's new. You may have explored. Like, man, you were in San Francisco with me, and you never even been to San Francisco. You're like, man, I don't know what's going on around here. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, we got. Like, how true is that mentality going into any type of game when you're on the road, in sports in general, and in your game too?
No, it's tough, man. Like, when you're on the road, like, especially when you are part of a team like Vegas, who's won, who's set precedents. They let people know that they were here to stay. Like Mark Davis is really, has done a lot for women's sports and for Vegas and for here. So when you have kind of like that narrative already, people are already kind of looking at you like, why are you guys here? Like, and like any defending champs, like you won something that another team has or wants to do. Like you're gonna be like, and that's what the fans are too. So, it could be like 2-0 and it feels like 50 to -7. Like it's just like so loud, and that's like that's why it's so important to, when you're on the road, to really get to a good start, because you got to take the fans out. You got to take some momentum out. You got to do something to kind of like even the playing field. And that's just like for anywhere. It's just really tough, especially when it's places that are just. I mean, everywhere now it's loud, and like it's really cool also to see that just the fans are just growing. It's just so different, and it's almost every arena now. It's like sold out, right? Like there's an actual fandom to the game, and so as much as it's like, dang, you guys are loud as hell, you're kind of like, yeah, like you guys should be here, It's like 50-50, but no, the road is tough. Like you have to be locked in, understand like you're already down, 5-0, right? Because usually teams shoot better, obviously at home. So like you're already down. So you got to have that mindset. Like this is not, you can't ease your way in. You got to throw the first punch. And usually the team that's a little bit more aggressive to start, it kind of goes their way a little bit, just because the energy wise, you got to bring the energy. You got to stay juiced throughout, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, they're calling your names, the starting lineup. I've been to a few games, guys. Like I've been to a few Aces games on the road. And I'll tell you this, like once it's like, starting guard, 24, Jewell Loyd. Like, you know what I mean? She walks out, she does her thing, you dance, and it's like, I'm cheering. I'm like, oh, yeah, let's go. Everyone's looking at me like, what are you doing, bro? Like, I'm like, oh, my
they
bad,
rush
guys.
Those
like,
oh, my God.
No, but I'm telling you, at Golden State, I know you've been to Phoenix. I know you've been to Minnesota and played. Those are hostile environments. But there's something different about the Bay Area. There's something different about, I was going to say Oracle. Basically, it was like Oracle, because everything that went up, they would cheer for, and it was loud. The moment I stood up, I was like, yeah, Jewell, they were looking at me like I was like a criminal in the building. Like, bro, sit your ass down, dude. And I felt outnumbered. I was like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? So these fans are going crazy. No. Can you take us through some other, like, rowdy environments? I'm telling you, guys, if you haven't been, and this is to any WNBA fan, if you haven't been to a Golden State Valkyries game, because I live right in the Bay, like, that place is loud as hell.
Yeah, no.
And Jewell can attest to that, I'm telling you. But have you been to another rowdy environment like that? In the W?
Honestly, playing in New York, Brooklyn, they do a good job. Like it's a vibe, for sure. And coming in, when I wasn't on the Aces, coming and playing in Vegas was tough too. So it's like you're getting that everywhere. Like playing in Atlanta and stuff too, because they have a very like intimate gym. So it gives you like Evanston, like high school feel, like it's just like everyone's on top of you, just like, dang, like, and that's the thing, like, I don't know if people early in the W, maybe, I don't know. And just general, like when your fans are super engaged and locked in, like that is a big, like we took, like in high school, we took pride in being like the rowdiest, craziest fans. So like that's like, dang, it feels different, right? Like for players, like as much as we're like, no, we're focused in the game, like we're locked in, we don't really hear it. Sometimes it's just white noise. Like no, we hear it. Like we hear the stuff that happens with the fans. Like we understand the momentum. We hear like all these things during timeouts. Sometimes that gets you like, all right, it starts to make you panic, right? It starts to raise your blood pressure a little bit. So you got to calm down. But playing in, against the Valkyrie, I was like, wow, you guys are showing out, like first season. You wouldn't, like, someone had no idea about the WNBA and went to, watch the Valkyrie. I don't think they would know that it's the first year, right? Like, I don't think they would know, like, it's the first team there. I think they would just be like, wow, like, this is cool. It's like, you would never know. It doesn't seem like, the rookies, right? The fans, like, feel like they've been fans for years. Right. And so having that, it's really cool. And just to see, like I said, like the growth of the W it's been remarkable. And, we deserve it. Now you deserve that love 100%. To have that, home and away. Right. And like a lot of these fans do travel too. Like you see jerseys and you see that and you're like, wow, okay. Like people travel to, very far to come see us play. But yeah, it's getting rowdy and it's getting electric on home and away games. So it's been fun to go there, and it definitely makes winning away more memorable because you're able to kind of take the crowd out of it. But it's it's not going anywhere. It's just getting bigger and bigger.
You've been hitting some clutch shots this year as well down the stretch, and I need you to hit one in an away game and just hit them with the. You gotta hit him with the Kobe, the Olympics. Just silence the crowd. You silence. Who's your favorite crowd you silenced? Was there a crowd you silenced to a T where like you could hear a pin drop? Any
I don't
level.
know if
They don't gotta be the W. Could have been high school. Could have been college.
I honestly don't know. I'm much as like I've hit a lot of game winners. I've also missed a lot of game winners too. And I feel like a lot of the big shots I was able to make have been like at our home gym, which has
Mhm.
always been nice. But I don't know, like I've been like my first game winner in the league was like against Phoenix.
Oh,
I
okay.
feel like that was always big just because like, playing against DT, like Bonner, like that team was just so
Yeah.
freaking good. And like I said, playing in Phoenix is very, very hard. So it's very hard to silence that crowd. So hitting that pull up jumper off the bank, which is called too. I think that kind of put a damper into it a little bit, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. These questions you got to ask like my friends. 'Cause I'm sure they have a different like perspective of everything than me. Like a lot of times
No,
I hit a shot, I
100%.
really don't like react like crazy. Um, I kind of
You're
just
just too
like go
locked
about my
in.
business.
I mean, you've hit a bunch of shots. You're always locked in, so business like. You're just like, "Okay, yeah. All right, let's get back on D, guys." Alright. You've
I
been
mean,
there.
sometimes like it just depends. Like sometimes like my emotions comes out, but a lot of times too. Like it depends. Like I think some of my game winners have been like where that's like zero point 0.4 seconds. So like then I know we're winning. But sometimes there's like 2 seconds left on the clock, or like 1 second left. Like, I still want to be able to. You never know. Yeah. Like so I always want to
Yeah.
make sure I'm
No, no,
always getting back on
100%.
defense or whatever that is. But yeah, I know. I
100%.
just I mean, in those moments too, I feel probably the calmest. And
Oh, wow.
like I just
Is that
feel
something you learned? Is that something you, like, had to actually develop? I know the whole clutch. Tell me about the clutch gene, because that you hear that a lot in sports too, like, "Oh, the clutch gene. This person has the clutch gene. This person," some people don't have the clutch gene, you know what I mean?
uh,
But is that
I,
something it's just through preparation, something you have to actually develop and learn, or is it something you just felt like you had naturally?
I think it's just I think it's natural. I think all the times like being in my room, like counting 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like throwing it off the Fisher Price hoop, and I had this like Dick Vitale like hoop that he would like count down. He's a PTP or prime time player. Like every time he scores, he's like
Yeah,
yelling at you. Like you got the music
yeah,
in the background and stuff like that. Like I've always kind of had like in practice these crazy shots all the time, and some of that was like playing against guys growing up. Like I had to find ways to get my shot off.
yeah,
And so that was like half of it. But two, I just always kind of imagine, hitting game winners and pretending and doing that all the time. And a lot of times when I work out in practice, we do the same thing, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Like, like we do like five in a
okay.
row. So I kind of always had that, but I don't know. I just feel majority of the time when I shoot, I'm just not gonna miss. But like I said, you got to miss a lot to make a lot. So,
Yeah,
and if, like Steve, he's always like, you got to have the confidence to miss. You have the confidence to miss. You have the confidence to make. And so that's kind of how I always saw it. And like I said, I missed a lot of game winners, but I've also made some. And so you kind of get more confident in that situation. I
yeah,
think obviously too, like the more you make, the more people kind of expect you to make them, put you in the situation to, either make the pass in that situation or make the shot, make the good read. But I don't know. I think just because I've always kind of practiced that since I was younger, fadeaway jump shots and doing like crazy horse shots. Now it's kind of, you never know when you have to, shoot a left hand three like Kobe. You show these other plays, you only got the left hand shot.
yeah,
I don't know. You never know. So you
yeah.
just practice random shit all the time. And, hopefully you never have to use those things. But, when you're asked upon it, hopefully, you execute down the stretch.
Yeah. So when it comes down to it, you have it in your arsenal, which is sick. But back on the road, as we were mentioning, talking about earlier, like, we got in your teammates, and I know I mentioned earlier in the show, one specific teammate that I actually wanted to really talk about with you was Aaliyah.
Yeah.
Um, Take me through her progression, honestly. Like, she's really stepped into a role as a rookie, and obviously, she's gonna make an all W rookie team. She's in the running for probably rookie of the year. Take me through, from the Alabama product who came in to training camp to those first few weeks, and now to step into her role and getting those pivotal minutes and closing games down the stretch. So take me through that. Take me through her progression and how she is.
I don't even know if it's even a progression, to be honest with you. She's kind of always been this steady since day one. She came in like ready to go, quiet, focused, very confident in what she was able to do. And I think the second day when we were scrimmaging, she literally hit like 6 threes in a row, and it was like deep, deep threes,
Yeah.
like just confident, and we're like, okay, like, and I watched her in college and she had that same like quiet confidence where she knew what she was able to do. Um, I don't think she was, on very high on people's radar, which is crazy because it's also hard to find really good shooters. Um, in general, like, like snipers, and she's a deadly sniper, and she's kind of always had that. And I think the biggest progression for her is not even her basketball, it's her voice. She's talking way more in our huddles, when we're watching film sessions and we're trying to like solve problems, she's talking. And like I said, I really have, I talk to her a lot and I make sure she understands who she is, whether she's making shots, missing shots, whatever that is. And, she's a great, great person. And I think she's starting to realize her greatness and what she could do in this league. And she's, and the thing is, she's not just a shooter. She's able to attack. She's able to use her body. She's a very, very high IQ player. And to have that so early in your careers, it's so helpful because you're setting the tone for yourself and who you are, but you're also like, you play this way, you gain so much trust with your teammates and coaches because you understand, what is needed for you to be on the court, what is asked of you, and you're going and getting shoved into the fire really like right away. Like, it's like, hey, now you're playing fourth quarter, like closing out games. And she's like, okay, like she's like not freaking out, and she's like, okay, whatever you need, So you also know that she also has that confidence in herself early on, and I'm just so happy for her. Her story is crazy too. And so, like I said, you look around our team, and it's like, man, everyone's journey to get here, be on this team it's so like unbelievable. And to see what she's doing and to do it like play well for her family, shoot the ball the way she's doing, but also her defense. Like she comes up with big stops. Like if you look at our wins and even just like big plays that we need, she's somehow in there. Like she's gonna a crucial rebound, she's gonna charge, she's gonna deflection. Like she's always finding a way to just impact the game throughout the game. And so that's what you need. And you need that from players and from rookies and just from everyone. And to know that our rookies literally putting everything on the line and not asking any questions. I mean, she has bruises like crazy, bro. Like somehow we're always looking like, dang, you got scratched, you got hit in the head, you got hit in the nose. Like, she's just taking hits and she's just like finding her way getting back up and still smiling. And it's really cool to see her personality and to see her grow and just get more comfortable with us. And she's cool. And I hope that people get to really know her and see what she's able to do beyond just basketball, because she's a great person. And like I said, that's my rookie. And she's just she's awesome. She's my sniper.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, she has such a quick release. Like her game, like if I'm just watching her, I'm like, you could tell right away. I think it was the preseason game against at Notre Dame when we watched it, and her catch and shoot. My God, the moment it touched her fingertips, it was already up in the air. I'm looking at Jared. I'm sitting next to Jared here, so I'm looking at Jared. I'm like, is she? He's like too quick. He's like just quick, quick. He just kept doing this. He just looked at me, kept doing this, just quick. So I feel like she, for her game, her catch and shoot ability is awesome. Her spacing's awesome. Her defense has improved like crazy from the beginning of the season to now. And I just feel like she's just taking on this role. But I feel like as a team as a whole, all the people who are coming off second units are taking that up. When Asia went down, that second unit really stepped up. KB stepped up. Dana stepped up. There was a big jump in the bench production once, like I said, other people were stepping up throughout the tougher games when Asia's not there. So you see it in a lot. And I feel like she's rubbing off on a lot of the other bench players as well with their confidence.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing. Like, it just takes one person to initiate something, and then everyone sees it, and it's like, okay, like now I get it, right? Like, that's the thing. Like this league and sports in general, like it's really just based off confidence and belief. Like people have crazy athletic abilities, people have access, people have potential, all these things, but it's really based on like, do you believe you should be here? Do you believe you should be in this game? Do you believe you should be playing this minutes? Do you believe that you're part of this team? Like, once you kind of get over that belief and like, whether you're feeling bad for yourself or you're just like, man, I don't know, like I should be here, like someone else should be here, or whatever that is. Once you get over that and you're like, no, like this is who I am, like this is me in the moment, like I'm going to take full advantage of this. People blossom, and sometimes I think a lot of times, like that's like the biggest hurdle. It's like constantly building people's confidence, constantly building people's trust, constantly building the belief. And and the crazy thing is, like even at year 11, like I still need that too. Sometimes I need someone to be like, hey, you're good. Like, like you, okay. Like, it's just nice. Like, I think a lot of people need that, like, not just athletes.
100%.
So like for our second unit, for our team, it's like, it's constantly just building people up and reminding like who they are. Like, remember, like you are this, Dana, you are this, Chelsea, you are this, Jackie, like, like Becky, like you're Hall of Famer, like you're good. Like, it's like constantly just reminding people because
Yeah.
it's tough sometimes. I mean, like everyone goes through it. It's like sometimes you don't feel it. You're at a 70%, so you need someone else to give you that other 30, or you're at 50%. You need someone to give you the other 50. So it's constantly building people up. And I think that's been the biggest shift too. It's like we're using our voice to talk about X and O's, but we're also using our voice to build people up.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so the road trips on its way. What is it going to take for Jewell and the Aces and Jewell to go 4-1, 5-0, possibly? What is it going to take for that perfect road trip, as perfect as can be, for your guys' team?
It's the full 40 minutes, right? Like it seems like a very basic answer, but it really is. Like these games on the road, like you have to put full games together and you got to find ways to win. Sometimes it's going to be ugly. It's going to be literally a bump and grind, like just stuck in the mud kind of games. Sometimes it might be you guys feel good and now, teams are just running up and down the court, like whatever that is, but you have to find ways to win. So whatever that looks like, whether it's just a defensive game or that's just you're shooting the lights like out of the ball, like whatever it is, right? And so that's the mindset is that whatever it is that we have to do, you got to find it because that's what good teams do, right? Like you find ways to win, and that's the difference on these road games and having that mindset. And I think we can do that. I think we can really, we're capable, and every team's capable, right? Like that's like, that's why you play the game. But for us, it's really locking in. And how we did before, we just came off a really good win, a really good team win, and seeing that and watch, film break that down and try to like bottle that up and have that juice for the rest of the road trip. Obviously recovery is really big too. We're playing in a lot of games and traveling a lot, but you got to have a full 40 minutes, man. Like it's tough, but that's our jobs. You got to bring that every single day, and it's not just us, right? Like I'm sure every team you play is saying the same thing, right? And so it's just like finding out how to do it and do it a little bit better.
Okay. Yeah. No, definitely. Well, I'm excited for this road trip. I'm excited to see you guys play. I really am. I want to see how you guys finish out or start this month and then finish out basically. So you're gonna be on a bus or a plane. You ain't gonna be home anytime soon,
bro. It's just a professional nomad, bro. Professional nomad. It's half my life is like that, man. It's just like living out of hotels. It's crazy.
I'm super excited to see, you guys perform at a high level. You guys are building momentum, especially going into these next 5 games. And I'm excited to see how July's gonna start and July's gonna finish, because you are not gonna be anytime home soon. So hopefully it's a good one. When you arrive home, you open those doors, it's gonna be a fresh breath air. So breath of fresh air. So and with that being said, guys, make sure you guys are tuning into the warehouse. Make sure you guys are liking and subscribing. We got more things coming soon. Jewell, good luck.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Let's go.
Yeah,
go Aces.
Go Aces, baby.